Greetings, Herr Cologne. Now that you've been introduced to your port contacts, your officers, and have your boat supplied, it's time for your mission. Talk to your liaison from BDU to see what your options are. This opens up a map of the war and will show you friendly and enemy nations, as well as any offensives that are underway on land. You will also see photos scattered around the map. These indicate special missions or campaigns. These objectives often have a reward that will last through your entire service in the war. Sometimes it is a skill that will appear on all officers of a certain type, regardless of whether they took part in the mission. Sometimes it will be a special contact at headquarters, or it could even be extra intelligence in future missions. Many of these campaigns are available for only a limited time, so it is important to not procrastinate on them, especially as some will require multiple patrols to accomplish. Your most common mission, the bread and butter of a U-boat commander's career, is a standard patrol. You will be sent to travel a specified distance within a cluster of patrol sectors. You will also have an optional objective to sink a specified amount of enemy cargo shipping. You do not have to sink this tonnage within the sectors, but only the distance traveled in the patrol area counts towards mission completion. Enemy warships and neutral cargo ships not traveling in enemy convoys will also not count towards this total. Pay attention to the difficulty rating, any intelligence you may have on enemy warships or planes, and the weather in the area, and the rewards for these missions. Occasionally, on these patrols, you will receive new orders from BDU that will divert your U-boat toward another objective, like helping a stricken ally, or you may be given a specific target of opportunity to attack. Other U-boats will also radio in locations of enemy contacts. Many of these messages will aid you in sinking your required tonnage, so pay attention to their location and the direction of travel. Once you have selected your patrol, you may chart your course to your mission area and put to sea. To do this is very easy. Your helmsmen know their jobs. Opening up the map view with the map icon or the M key, right-clicking on your destination will not only set it, but will chart a course that will take you around dangerously shallow waters if you are surfaced. However, if you dive, you can still strike the ocean floor, so use caution and be mindful of your depth. To set multiple waypoints, hold down the Shift key and then right-click each waypoint on the course. Once your course is set, you can order your engines to speed and you're on your way. Now that you're moving, let's take a look at the map. This is where you will find most of your tactical information as well as navigation. You can move around using WASD and zoom in and out using the scroll wheel on your mouse. You can make most of your decisions from this map if you so prefer. In the upper right corner, you have some important pieces of information that you can use to plan your next moves. When working to maintain stealth, it is very common to dive deeper underwater, but you can't dive to 90 meters when you only have 40 meters of water under your keel. When navigating shallower waters, I recommend moving the mouse over sections of the map to display the estimated depth of that area. This will help you see where the water is deep enough to maneuver to better avoid detection. You'll also have your weather conditions and lighting conditions displayed. A bright, beautiful sunny day with calm waters makes it easy to spot your targets, but also makes it easier to spot a U-boat. Fog will drastically limit your visibility, but will also allow you to approach ships on the surface and get far closer to them before alerting them of your presence. Strong waves have the possibility of causing your U-boat's conning tower to broach the surface, as well as potentially causing water to flood in if you are moving on the surface. Next, you have your gauges. How much power you have in your batteries and fuel in your tanks are important to monitor, especially on missions further away from the safety of port. When submerged, your battery power and air supply are critical to watch. If either of those run out, you're finished. Crew discipline is also important to monitor, but is more easily mitigated through how you handle your men. More on that later. Your renown and your funds are your cumulative rewards from your career and give you an idea of when you'll be able to upgrade your crew and your boat. Next, we have our boat controls. Now these are the same whether you are in map view or not. Your telegraph indicates to the engine room the direction and speed you wish to move, whether you want to favor diesel or electric engines, whether you want to run the diesel to charge your batteries while stopped, and you can also use it to manually call or cancel the alarm for your crew. Your speed can be set via the telegraph or by pressing the plus or minus keys on your keyboard. Just remember where you set it so you don't accidentally back up into an angry Corvette when you're trying to actually stop. Next, you have your depth meter, which comes with a convenient group of buttons. You can manually set your depth and have your crew maintain that, or hit one of the presets for a prescribed action. The presets are surface, decks awash, periscope depth, crash dive, and hydrophone check. When submerged, hitting the surface button will blow the ballast tanks and take your boat to the surface, where you must then engage the air compressors to refill your air. It normally takes about 40% of your compressed air to surface the boat. Running with decks awash will partially submerge your boat until only your conning tower is above the water. This can allow you to replenish your air and batteries, but is slower than running on the surface. Additionally, the spray from the conning tower is very visible. Another advantage is that it uses the dive planes to maintain, so it doesn't take any compressed air to get up to that point, and the tanks are already flooded, so it takes very little time to dive. Periscope depth takes you just under the surface with, hopefully, only the attack and observation periscopes above the water. This is generally where you will launch most of your torpedo attacks and stalk your prey. If the waters are particularly rough, you can assign an officer to maintain depth and you'll reduce the risk of your conning tower broaching the surface. Crash dive will flood your ballast tanks and will take you down to your maximum safe depth fast, quick, and in a hurry. Useful if a plane or warship is snuck up on you, but be warned that it takes some time to get down that far and will take some time to return. Sailors also don't like being that deep underwater, so prolonged periods will have an effect on their morale and discipline. The hydrophone check is an automated process. Ordering this will stop your boat, dive to 50 meters, wait for 5 minutes while listening on the hydrophone, and then your boat will surface and your crew member will ideally turn on the compressors to replenish the air. Sometimes that last step doesn't happen though, so be mindful. You can also manually set your depth by clicking on the depth meter itself. I find that my most common manual depths are 30 meters if I'm listening while on the move and don't want to be at periscope depth, and between 50 and 90 meters if I'm actively avoiding depth charges. The red area of the depth meter indicates where the boat is in danger of damage from water pressure. You risk water leaks at this depth, and it becomes very difficult to blow ballast tanks due to the water pressure. I recommend only diving to this depth in an absolute emergency. Your next gauge is your rudder angle. Your helm will automatically control this when you've set a course and are moving. However, when you're stopped, you can set the rudder angle to 0 to prevent drift, or to either port and starboard to slowly turn to the respective directions using the water's currents. In the upper left, you have your location, date, time, and most importantly, your time compression. The date and time are excellent for planning out your mission if you need to infiltrate an area at night or have an assigned rendezvous. Time compression can be a useful tool, but can also get you killed. As mentioned before, pausing doesn't actually pause, but rather slows time tremendously. If you are near ships and are simply waiting for a good moment to shoot, the ×12 button is very useful. Using ×48 speed will also allow targets to approach faster, but I tend to use it more when leaving port. I will use ×140 when using a hydrophone sweep or speeding up travel in coastal waters. Using ×1800 is generally only safe in transit and open waters, But be mindful, dangers will appear very quickly, and you won't have much time to react before they're on top of you. You will also run out of battery and air very quickly if you are submerged at this speed, so when either turns yellow, turn it off and surface. The fastest way to destroy your boat is to use the Times 6500 speed. I recommend never using this, but if you must, then only when in open water, on the surface, and not in an area where you are likely to encounter enemies. When your lookouts spot an enemy vessel or airplane, or when you do a hydrophone sweep and your hydrophone encounters a hydrophone contact, any time compression that you have set will automatically turn off and revert you to normal speed. A handy habit to get into would be to hit the spacebar to pause the game. This will allow you to collect your thoughts and determine the next course of action. There are a few other buttons that we have not covered, because those will be addressed in future lessons. Right now, you have all the information you need to successfully take your boat out and to complete a patrol mission. Good luck, Herculine.